Hello, and welcome to episode 90 of the Book Wars Pod. I'm Kate, and I'm here with Chris and Kristen and Miranda live in our house. What up?
A pow pow.
And today we are going to be wrapping up Twilight Company by Alexander Freed. And what's up, hoes? I'm back.
Kate's back, motherfuckers.
Sorry, who are you?
Welcome home.
Thank you. See, you're so nice to me. Chris, go fuck yourself. Chris also just...
I didn't
just
even hear what he
drank-
said. It's not important.
I know. Chris also just drank out of my beer bottle because he hates me, so that's great too.
I thought it was my beer bottle, which I now realize I threw
Chris,
out
you-
like 5 minutes ago because it was empty.
You
You
fucking
can leave.
Oh my god.
I mean, I can go take a nap. I'm pretty tired. Had a long day at work.
Is it a nap if it's regular bedtime?
Kate?
Or is that just sleeping?
Well, how long are you intending to sleep, Chris?
Depends on circumstances.
Kate is the keeper of the nap
It's-
rules, though.
It depends on how long you intend to sleep, Chris.
Let's say I only intend to sleep while you record, and then I'm going to wake up again.
Then that's a nap.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Glad we established this.
Great.
A nap has like a set boundary of time that you want to be asleep for, and which is hopefully less than 5 hours.
I was going to say, I mean, I have a set boundary of time when I go to sleep for the night.
My naps are usually 5 hours if I'm lucky. Naps are so great. Are we drinking? Chris, are you drinking anything,
Yes.
or are you just going to try to drink Kate's beer the whole time?
Both?
Fucking-
Yes. The answer is yes.
Get away from my beer,
I and Miranda, we are both drinking
my precious.
the famed on this podcast 1-8 Distilling Untitled Number 13 whiskey.
Yeah, he's talked it up a lot, so I'm really hoping it's worth it.
Have you
Yeah,
tried it
you-
yet?
No, I was waiting for the podcast to
Oh, okay.
give you my raw thoughts on it.
Okay, excellent. Well,
Do it.
Live and in
Cheers.
person.
Woo. Yes.
what do you think?
It's pretty good. Tastes like bourbon. Which is good, because I'm pretty sure it's a bourbon. I know Chris probably said it just now, but I have already forgotten.
He sure didn't.
Oh,
It is.
it's a bourbon.
It is a high rye bourbon.
Oh, is this that rye one that we were talking about several episodes ago, me having to try?
I drink a lot of different rye whiskeys. I don't think
Okay,
it is.
well, you know what?
I think I gave that away. I'm sorry
Oh my
because I didn't
god.
take it. Okay, but I gave it to friend of the hosts, Kitty Borgman. So
Oh,
Take it up with her.
that's
It's
It's
allowed.
true.
I will accept that.
Official.
Katie's like one of the only people who is allowed.
It's true.
official band friend of the pod.
Official.
Do we have one yet?
No, official pork chop babysitter of the pod.
Official pork chop babysitter of the pod. That's fair.
Yes, the cutest.
Luckily,
Kate,
none of our other pork chop babysitters listen to the pod.
Yeah.
Damn. Just
Hey,
realized
what
how
are you
rude that was.
drinking? What are you trying to drink that Dad's not letting you drink?
Well, I am now out of my fucking Modelo Negro because Chris had several sips of it. You are taking some decent pulls out of this bottle, sir.
Took 2 sips.
You have to pass after the second.
This is great because now we can just give Miranda withering glares in person.
Hey, somebody has to do it. Kristen's not here. So.
It's true.
Oh my fucking god. Alright, so now, because Chris drank my beer, I'm having some shitty Trader Joe's brand White Claw. It is pomegranate flavored.
Yum.
So that's happening. I mean, I could also have gone for hard stuff, but let's be real, I'm gonna be crunk as hell off of these two baby little things.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's so good though. Aren't they like 5%? They're really delicious.
Yes, they are. As a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
They're also gluten-free, in case anyone was wondering.
Well, that's why we love a hard seltzer.
We love a hard seltzer for many reasons, but that is one of the reasons we love a hard seltzer.
They're appropriate for the whole adult family.
They are. If you have a gluten intolerance of any kind, you're all set.
Also, Kristen, for you, I am also drinking a Modelo Negro on the side.
Oh, that's a side beer.
Yeah, I have a pretty light pour of the whiskey because
Side beer.
I want to feel like a person tomorrow. So,
Can't relate.
yeah.
Did I give you that light of pour? I guess I gave you a little less than me.
You're used to like the second person you're pouring for being me.
No, I gave you a lot less than me. Okay.
And so you're probably just like, this is fun. You're like, Miranda is my child and I cannot.
No,
Well,
it's
she
more
also
like
has
I'm
a
tired
side
of getting
beer.
yelled at. I'm tired of getting yelled at by Kate. Wow. Wow, are you trying to cut me off when I pour her a perfectly reasonable amount of gin?
Can neither confirm or deny. So let's talk about Star Wars.
No one asked me what I'm drinking.
Oh,
Hey,
yes,
Kristen, what are you drinking?
I'm sorry. I got distracted by Chris being a fuck.
I'm drinking an Alphadelic IPA from Hop Valley Brewing Co.
Ooh.
I have not had this, and I'm gonna go ahead and say Chris would fucking hate this. Hop Valley's out of Eugene. I've probably had their citrus mistress on the podcast before, but we got like over Labor Day or over Memorial Day, excuse me. We got like a variety pack because I thought we were running out of beer, but then we weren't, so I had to bring them all home. This is comes in at 90 IBUs, 7.2% alcohol. A true Northwest IPA.
Oh, she's
Two-row
a-
and Munich malts lay the groundwork for a simple, medium-bodied malt profile, while a combination of Northwest hops and Southern Hemisphere hops add a tropical citrus bouquet.
She's a hoppy girl.
She is
90 is a lot of IBUs.
90 is a lot of IBUs, and that's international bitterness units. And what I had a Star Wars beer this week. I don't remember what it's called.
Was it the she's fast enough for you, old man?
No, because that one we had on the pod. Hold on, let me check. Talk among yourselves, and I will look it up.
Yeah, let's talk about how Kristen was just straight up like, no.
It's
like, wow.
very rude,
What
but
a-
you know
what? A
what?
burn.
It's cool.
What?
Aw.
Sorry. It's true. It was not that one. It was a different one, and I tweeted it from Tashi Station Brew House. And let me look. It was because it was a collab between. It's called the Kessel Run. It's called a Kessel Run. And it was a Loyal Legion collaboration IPA between Sun River Brewing and Loyal Legion. So
That's great.
I posted
Heh.
that on Tashi Station Brew House, which we're finally recording a new episode of this week. So look out for that later. It's probably going to come out later in the day, the same day that this comes out. So
Fuck
if
yes.
y'all want, I think we're having a D&D person on, and also they do soccer shit, so it should be fun. I don't know them. Sorry, I'm forgetting their name at the moment, but
Think
Did,
someone
it's
I don't
true.
know, it should be great.
did the brew house ever brew my Anakin beer?
I don't know. Great question.
I think Brian might have.
I need to ask him. I never actually followed up on that to see
I don't know.
how
We
much of a
finally-
train wreck it was.
Yeah.
Ask the Patreon Slack,
I should.
and then we'll have to address it on the show.
Yeah, because I brought it up now.
Chris,
That's
we need
right.
to get a Pico when we move, just because apparently my Kanan beer is fucking amazing.
We can. We may.
Do it.
Who knows?
Do it.
Listen, Brian also told me I can make kombucha in that thing, so maybe you don't have to look at my disgusting fucking SCOBY all the time.
I mean, our kitchen is. We're gonna have so much more space in our kitchen.
Just call it a Kinchin.
Yes, he did.
Okay, great.
all the kids
This
are saying
beer
these days,
this
Kristen.
beer, you would hate it, Chris. It's delicious. Miranda, you would like it. It kind of tastes like trees.
Love a tree beer.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
this makes
Anyway,
so much sense.
everyone should get a Pico Brew. They do not sponsor the brew house, but they should.
How much are they? They're like $200, right?
It's a little bit more than that, but now you can do it with your own ingredients, so it brings the cost way down. I haven't tried it yet, so cannot speak to that, but tune in to Brew House to hear us fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
Noted. I mean, I just bought a Quest with my fucking insurance error in your favor money, so
Yay!
But that
Oh yeah,
wasn't
how
your...
is that? Are you gonna do a bonus episode with other cool people who did that?
we are. So if you are in the Tashi Station Patreon Slack and you are a Patreon supporter, you saw a great video of me playing Vader Immortal, I think it's possible to say that you might be seeing another video of Miranda playing Vader Immortal as she just played it before we started recording tonight.
Just as soon as I figure out how to put the video on the Slack, because Slack mobile fucking hates it when I try to upload videos for whatever fucking
Oh,
reason.
does it? Fascinating.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll figure it out. Just for you guys.
Yeah. So reasons
Thanks,
to join
Mom.
the Patreon. And as Kristen alluded to, at some point we're gonna have a little bit of a break at the end of June as me and Kate make our great journey west in our covered wagon. So we'll try and record a bonus episode on Vader Immortal that'll come out during that period, so y'all don't have to go too long without the content that you tolerate.
Maybe me and Miranda will just get on and freestyle about whatever we want. Kate will
That's-
absolutely.
I
You would have
can't.
no way to stop you.
I was about to say, could we have Kristen Miranda? Is that a good idea?
Terrible idea.
There's no way that could go wrong.
No way.
I have a very bad feeling about that.
Oh my fucking god. Also, we are not going in a covered wagon. Only the best for pork chop, sir.
Oh,
True,
so
Pork Chop
true.
will get top quality air conditioning.
I'm flying him in my private jet that I own, so
And
it's fine.
It was a very generous
That's
of you.
how you got to Denmark and back, I hear.
That's right. I took a private jet. Miranda, I miss you so much. I'm drinking out of your Caps cup right now.
Can you? That's my water cup.
I know. I'm drinking water out of it.
Okay, I was about to say like
No,
Live-
I wouldn't
live
put
your best
beer, I
life,
wouldn't
but-
put beer in plastic
that is my
unless it was a silly pint.
that is my work water cup.
No, it is. Sorry. But I know. I'm just drinking ice water out of it because it's double walled.
Okay, that is acceptable.
I just miss you. And if you were here, you'd be screaming about the 2018 Stanley Cup champions.
I am always screaming about the 2018 Stanley Cup champions.
I mean, the people playing in the Stanley Finals right now are just fucking garbage.
Yeah,
so.
two worst fan bases in all of sports, TBH, if we're being honest.
I'm okay with one
Okay,
of them.
yeah, the Blues fan base isn't like the Cards fan base, though. And
That's
we
true.
like the Blues.
I'm speaking solely about the good
The
people
baseball
of St.
fan
Louis,
bases.
not specifically the Blues fandom. I have no issue with the Blues.
Yeah, I don't know about them. Miranda would know more, but she told me to root for them, so that's what we're doing.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Root for Boston? Come on.
Yeah,
Fuck
really.
no.
I mean, what do you mean, fuck no, you Red Sox fan?
Okay, I only root for one Boston team. Okay?
I
It's
mean,
fine.
one too
It's
many, but it's
complicated.
better than
And
two.
it pains me, and it pains your mother.
It's complicated. Okay, now that we're 13 minutes into the podcast, should we talk about Star Wars?
I mean, I don't
maybe?
think that's a record, so probably not.
Oh my god, shut.
I know, but this book was so good. I want to talk about it.
That's fair. I appreciate you contributing to the outline, Kristen. I was literally 10
gonna
seconds
fucking
away
drag me.
from dragging Kristen in our group chat, but then she had already texted me, like, has somebody created an outline? I have stuff to put in it. Because last week you were so excited for this wrap up, and I was like, okay, can you put stuff in the outline then? Because I'm kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Okay. Also, I'm not totally inept. I was on the bus when I thought of it, so I asked someone that was by a computer to create
No, that's
it.
true.
I wasn't just
Sorry.
being a lazy
That's
shit.
that's an
Much as that is on
That's an
brand for
important
me.
qualifier. The point of that story was not to drag Kristen, even though I couldn't drag Kristen. It was to say that Kristen is undraggable in this specific 1 to 2 hour period of time.
Hey, you know what me asking about the outline means? I probably read the outline,
At least what you
which
wrote.
is great.
One in a row.
When I read Let Me Drag Chris, and I read the bonus story with limited time and showered because Chris didn't tell us to read it.
It's true.
Yeah.
I told him before I went to Greece, you have one job. Please remind them on the wrap up that we should be talking about the short story found in the back of the paperback edition. Didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I finished playing Vader Immortal, and Kate was like, have you read the short story? We have 5 minutes until we're scheduled to record.
That sounds right. Book Wars Pod.
Nothing but the best preparation.
Oh, God.
Let's talk about the rebellion, motherfuckers.
Woo! Also,
Big yikes.
Yeah, this book teaches us different new things about the rebellion, doesn't it?
like how it's a hot ass mess.
I mean,
The
we,
hottest
it's
assist.
not like we didn't know that, to be fair.
True.
We knew that, but it's a little more of a hot mess than like I personally thought it was. Like I thought they had their shit generally under control, and it turns out that is not the case.
It's
I
less
thought
of
they were
a
getting like space telegrams at least or something from high command.
Right, like, I mean, if you're gonna have we, obviously it's a ragtag, scrappy group of underdogs, but I was just like, they have a military hierarchy and everything. Not a military hierarchy that makes sense, because I don't know why Harrison Dula is a general, but a pilot. But anyway,
yeah, that's still weird.
yeah, I'm still confused about that, which is fine. But yeah, no, it's a little more dire than that. It's just, it's just like, oh, we had to scatter and we are cut off, and we don't know where high command is right now because Luke fucked off to Dagobah, and
And everybody else also fucked off.
sure did.
It's gonna go live in a space penis for a couple days. Like
As you do.
we've all been there. I get
Oh
it.
my god.
I mean, with real estate prices what they are, I don't blame you.
Yeah. But I think it's amazing that like when they couldn't contact anyone, eventually what they got around to was like, well, I guess we'll go just like start attacking some planets.
I guess we'll go
kind of-
rebel.
We kind of have an end goal. This will be fine.
I know, it's just like, oh, does the Empire own it? Guess we'll blow it up, because what the fuck else are we gonna do right now?
Yeah, no, literally, it's like, well, option A is to not blow stuff up. Option B is to blow stuff up. So we're going to go with option B.
Sounds more fun.
Who says no?
Yeah. Who doesn't
well-
say no? Chalice. Chalice does not say no.
Accurate.
And so and the other thing about that is oh shit, I had a point. Where did it go? Fuck. Oh, and we talked about this a little bit. I don't remember in which episode, maybe like the second one for this book. Anyway, whichever one where we see them openly recruiting after they like go in and fuck shit up places. But I thought that was like a particularly interesting part of this book, and like a particularly interesting rebellion thing to do that it's probably because like I don't think about it, but I'm like, oh shit, that I guess that makes sense, but also holy shit.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but this actually came up in like a couple of different sections that we read, and in one of them, it really sounded like something that was specifically a Twilight Company thing.
Right, because I think it was that Howl, like, he was specifically told, don't do this in case Imperial sympathizers just randomly decide to sign up and start spying on us, and Howl was like, don't care.
The thing is, I've got a good judge of character that will make that not happen.
Ha ha. Ha.
Bwah, bwah, bwah.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's something that necessarily gives us insight into the rebellion as much as it does to like how Twilight Company operates.
Right.
Because they clearly, as we see throughout the book, like have a lot of pride in what they are as an organization. And, we see a lot of characters kind of more dedicated to Twilight Company than to the rebellion. They might not necessarily believe in all the idealism and all of that, but they believe in like their mission right here, right now, and like protecting their friends.
Amir sure doesn't fucking care.
Yeah, I mean, Ymir and Brand, I would argue, too, doesn't actually care about the rebellion. She cares about Howl.
So,
And Twilight.
yes. So what actually is driving the rebellion at large if we've got all these cynical ass motherfuckers just kind of being like, I actually kind of hate this.
Yeah, it's interesting because this
yeah.
book... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
No,
Kristen.
no. Go ahead, Chris. It sounded like you were about to make an actual salient point.
Well, it's just interesting because, we've talked a lot about how Rogue One is kind of the natural counterpart to this story in its tone and in its, kind of hashtag grittier portrayal of war. But Rogue One is very much about ideology. Like, it's about charismatic leaders, sure, because it's a movie and you need main characters you care about. But, like, it's very much like rebellions are built on hope. What have they brought us? Hope. Like, literally, it's not even subtext. It's just straight up text. And so, like, that is very much hammering home that the rebellion is about ideology and is about fighting for what is right against tyranny. And, you know, the whole point is they do have other options. Like Jin hasn't had the luxury of political opinions. You know, it doesn't matter if you don't look up all this stuff. But once you get into this book, that kind of all falls apart because except for maybe Gadrin, I don't think any of the senior people that we meet in Twilight Company are driven at all by ideology. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, as we were saying, it's more of a sense of personal loyalty and, you know, the idea that this unit is a family, as opposed to anything else. But this is something we have seen before. It's not something I think that's isolated to Twilight Company. We've definitely seen it before. And for example, like Thane Kyrell in Lost Stars, like he gave no actual fucks about the rebellion. He just knew that it was better than the Empire because the Empire is literally fucking enslaving people. So he was like, well, guess I'll die, and by die I mean quit.
And probably die.
Yeah, and probably die, honestly. You know, and also, like, you know, like, Nora's crew in the Aftermath trilogy, you know, like, people, for example, like, Sinjir or Jas, like, they don't, like, they want to be where the money's at, and wherever place that will probably keep them alive, and then it develops into personal loyalty for Nora and the other people on the team, and then personal loyalty for, like, Leia and Mon Mothma. And, you know, for Sinjir, that grows into, I guess I kind of care about the cause, but for Jas, she's like, you know, they get the job done, and she's like, bye.
Yeah. No, and I think you touched on kind of the other two motivators for what is driving different aspects of the rebellion. You know, you have...
Bad motivator.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Please continue.
Bad motivators.
So you have kind of the Jas, the Sinjir, at least at the beginning, definitely the Thane motivation, which is you don't really have any other options. Like, you know, you don't like the Empire. You know the Empire's not working for you. Other than that, kind of don't give a shit. That's the fighting what we hate motivator, I guess, of Last Jedi fame.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Can I come in with before this is that thing that happens where I had a point and
No,
now we're
go
getting
for it.
too far away from the point for me to make the point. And then I come in and it makes no sense.
Yes, we
yes.
love a point.
We do. We love a point. We love it when Kristen makes a point and just doesn't come in and say something fucking stupid.
I love you. Yes.
I think Jin is an interesting exception to what I'm about to say because she was like #gritty and just like obviously like got the fuck off of planets and like was raised by Saw and had like the means to kind of fucking keep her head down if she wanted to. I think a lot of these other people who end up joining the rebellion in Twilight that we see, they're just like, well, and like I feel like I would kind of fall into this category if this happened to me. It's like, well, the Empire came and fucked up my home, or Twilight came and fucked up my home, and the Empire is not going to let me like kind of do what I want or like be an individual, so I'm going to join this other thing instead of just like waiting around here on this blown up shithole to die.
Right, and it's like, you know, the rebellion doesn't have a ton of resources, but, you know, you wake up every day and you probably have a roof over your head and you're probably getting fed, so sure.
And like you're allowed to have contraband alcohol. I mean, you're not allowed to have it, but
that's
also like it's a thing.
That's
like,
why
you know what I
it's
mean?
Contraband.
You're not fucking a stormtrooper with it. They don't give you a number when you join, which is better, I would say.
That's true. If you're caught with alcohol, you get like a demerit, not like a lightsaber through the chest.
It's true. Also, you're probably literally not fucking a stormtrooper. It's true.
Also probably true. Yo, I'm just gonna say, when you said that Jin is #gritty, I just really pictured Gritty in Jin's baton beatdown sequence on Jeddah.
Oh yeah.
My
No, I know.
God.
We stand Gritty on this
The
podcast.
gif of Gritty turning around, but with the fucking like beatdown batons. Can somebody do this, please?
Heath.
Heath.
Heath. We all shout Heath loud enough.
He's like, I refuse to listen to Bookwords Pod, so
I
still
felt
no.
something as
I
if
know.
4 people suddenly cried out, and I didn't care.
Heath D. Williams, Photoshop maestro of Star Wars Twitter.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry, Kristen. That was a really good point.
Yeah, actually,
it
was an
was.
excellent point.
It was a good point, and it is something
you.
that we saw in this book, and we have discussed previously while like discussing this. We discussed it while discussing this book.
Correct.
As one is wont to do.
That's how it works. But like that's very much kind of the path that Namir takes to the rebellion. You know, because like we saw when he was on Crucible,
Correct.
is the planet he is from. He was
Miranda
fighting.
1, Kristen 0. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh my God.
Go fuck yourself.
He was like fighting for the Empire because like that's how he got to stay alive. And then the rebellion won that battle, and they were like, "Oh!" When he got to the front of that line, they're like, "Do you want to join?" And he was like, "Well, I need to sleep somewhere. I'd like some food and some like medic stuff."
As you like flap at your person, she's just like making hand gestures. But yes,
He was
Well-known
severely
symbol for
hurt.
medical assistance.
So he's like, this is the most logical option. And I think when they do their like open recruiting after any battle, like where the fuck else are these people gonna go?
Mm-hmm.
It's like everybody they know just got super dead. So
Yep.
no more food for them.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
And then kind of the third option of what's driving the rebellion is its leaders. You know, it is undoubtedly driven by charismatic leaders, and this is something we've known since A New Hope, obviously, with the big three, and particularly Luke and Leia, although there's definitely some poor sad sack who, like, decided to name himself Han Solo, like, after, you know, Han Solo, and then realized that Han Solo is actually a dick.
Great. It's like all those people who name their kid Daenerys.
Wow, what a burn.
I'm sorry.
Damn, living in King's Landing with that burn.
That's a good one. That's a good
This
one. I
is a
don't
s-
even watch this television program.
this is
Spoiler
and I
Pod.
still know
This
about
is-
this.
This is not a spoiler-free podcast.
It never is. This is not spoiler
Twitter
free
literally
about.
spoils Game of Thrones the second it happens.
Well, people
Yeah.
could stay off Twitter and still listen to this podcast.
Highly
I don't know
unlikely.
why, but
The specifics have not been. I've actually been really good, just in case I feel like watching it. I'm sure I'm gonna give it in like 3 days, but I've been really good about like skipping through pods where they talk about the specific shit that happened. But I just am I even gonna go back and watch it? Probably not.
You shouldn't. Anyway, so what I was saying is with the charismatic leaders, like, yeah, and we see it at the beginning of this book, you know, where Roach chooses her name and Namir kind of rolls his eye and he's like, at least not another fucking Leia, am I right? And
Bro, that
like-
was one of my favorite parts of this book, honestly, was
Yeah.
Nadir being like, are these children for real? Like,
yeah, because
why
you
are they
do
like
have
this?
these inspirational figures, like, and obviously we all grew up with them, but there are young people in the galaxy who are growing up with them as well and know Princess Leia as, you know, this contraband figure who is like mysterious but fighting for their interests, and Mon Mothma, who is famously so charismatic and, you know, wins over the galaxy, and Bail Organa before he, you know, unfortunately goes boom, and Luke Skywalker
Damn.
and Admiral Akbar, I guess, if you like fish.
Why are you?
That was rude. That was
Wow.
overly rude to Admiral
Chris,
Akbar. I
that
apologize.
entire fucking point was rude. You piece of fucking shit. Sorry.
Like,
Just,
are you
why do you have to drag Bail like that?
I
Like,
know,
That,
and also,
that
like,
was rude.
To be
Admiral
fair,
Akbar died for your sins, so excuse the fuck out of you.
So did Bail. Fuck.
right?
also Bail went boom through no fault of his own,
I never implied that it was his fault.
except for running a secret rebellion against the Empire. But that's like a minor detail.
Yeah, that's very clearly a blameless crime. Victimless crime is what that is.
Oh my god.
But so anyway, before as I get shouted down, you have these charismatic leaders, but then that comes back to bite them when after the evacuation of Hoth, nobody knows where the fuck they are.
Right, I was gonna say, this is like, I mean, charismatic leadership is probably one of the rebellion's unique strengths, which is kind of interesting because, of course, the Empire, their whole shtick is ruling through fear. Very Machiavelli style. But again, as you said, this is also, of course, a unique weakness, which we have literally seen throughout history how, charismatic leaders just, like, fucking die or whatever the hell. And then it's like, well, don't know what to do with myself anymore.
Yeah, no,
cool,
it's one.
cool. Alexander the Great just fucking died of dysentery. What am I supposed to do with myself now?
Absolutely, and it's you said it perfectly. Like it's an amazing resource if you can harness it, but it's gone like that. And we see this even in democracy when you look at kind of political analysis of elections and how the Obama coalition doesn't turn out for people who aren't Obama.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, literally that is it. It's Obama.
Yeah.
Like, that's a great...
Yeah, and as we all die. Metaphorically and literally.
Can I have health care?
No.
Nope.
No? Okay, cool.
None.
Yeah, good. We're all on the same page.
Great.
Great. Oh my
but-
god, does not matter, but this was a very cute aside. My therapist the other time I was in there, she was like, oh, I'm trying to get like off of the panel for the health insurance that you have, but I still have it right now, so it's fine. What's your copay? And I was like, that is so cute that you think that I just have a copay and not a deductible. I was like, you just have to charge me. I have a deductible that I haven't met yet, but that is really nice of you to think that that is how good my health insurance is. I picked the best one, but no, I still have a very large deductible.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Everything's fine.
Oh, Jesus.
Everything's great. Nothing's wrong with the American healthcare system at all. We all love capitalism.
Hey, I'm used to paying out of pocket for my therapist, and thank God I have the means to do so. So it was just really cute that she thought that was a...
I know, that is really funny.
Fuck all of us. Anyway.
Yeah. My last point on charismatic leaders, it really makes me wonder, and of course this just never would have happened for personality and logistical reasons, but it makes me wonder how Thrawn would have fared in the rebellion.
Ooh.
I think Thrawn would have been very stressed out all the time.
Accurate.
Miranda, talk more about that. Why you think you and Thrawn are the same? What?
I have never said this. He is much smarter than I am. But our big blue boy is very much like a logistics and order kind of person. And the rebellion clearly operates on not that. They're just like, this seems like a good idea. Let's send everybody important to one ice planet. And then, like, just get invaded by the Empire. And then we're all going to fuck off for a couple months. And nobody's going to talk to anybody else. And, like, who knows if this is even still going on. We're just going to have rogue little companies attacking random-ass planets. And I think Thrawn would lose his goddamn mind.
I mean, can you imagine Thrawn being at the meeting in Return of the Jedi where Han Solo is made a fucking general?
Fucking seriously.
Because his head would fucking explode.
I will say this about Thrawn, though. As it relates to this book, I think he would very strongly approve of Chalice's plan.
Oh,
He would
100% agree.
live for that shit. But, like, everything else in the rebellion is going to be a hard no from him.
Well, he loves a slow burn. He does.
He does.
He
Yeah.
loves like this doesn't make any sense to anybody, but once you see my grand plan,
Yeah, Thrawn's
You
plans
see
need a
how
whole
we'll
season to
fuck it
play
all
out.
up.
There's no question about that.
It's true. I feel like he and Chalice would be like grudging respect kind of colleagues.
I would watch that buddy comedy for sure.
Oh, God, yes. That would be amazing.
Thrawn would just look at Luke Skywalker and be like, are you fucking kidding me? But also, this makes so much sense.
I think Thrawn would like maybe hand-to-hand combat murder Han and be like, it was for the good of the rebellion.
Captain Solo, can you do this one simple errand? No,
Not your errand boy, Thrawn.
only this.
I mean, he would just hear Luke, like, start talking, and he'd just be, like, whining about I don't know what, and just be like, wait a minute. I've seen this kind of bullshit before.
No, for real. He would hear the name Skywalker, and he would just be like, fuck.
I know, like, well, they're screwed. Never mind, I quit. We're done here. Like, oh,
Let me show you to this airlock, young Skywalker.
fucking God.
Okay.
That's so sad. Do I want to talk about Brand?
Let's talk about Brand.
Yay! I love
since-
Brand.
Thrawn would like Brand. I think Thrawn would like
I
Brand.
think so too. Let's talk about Brand since I had to last minute tell our children to fucking read the short story because you did not. So the story that I'm referring to is called In Brief, and it's by Janine K. Spendlove, and it's at, as I think I said before, the back of the paperback version of the book. Kristen checked it out, and it's not on the
It's not on the audiobook. It
Yeah.
is in the Kindle version. So,
Oh, cool. Okay.
yes, that's how I read it.
So this is another one of those stories that first appeared in Star Wars Insider, and they're, kind of just slowly sticking relevant ones in the back of books that they're related to. But basically, it's kind of just a character portrait of Brand and her childhood and how she wound up becoming a bounty hunter and how she wound up joining Twilight Company, which is kind of fun because, Brand is such a great character, and I do love how Spendlove really doubles down on the fact that she is not a white person. Like, she is, I know.
Nope.
So Janine K. Spendlove is actually an author who is local to us here in DC on the East Coast. And I know that her background is that she is Brazilian, and so I think she really kind of infused Brand's character with that, her, things she knows about her culture and how people, like, live in Brazil. Because it's definitely has a flavor, definitely has a Latinx flavor, and it's definitely, like, Brand is obviously a black Latinx lady, so it was cool. It was very cool to see.
Yeah. If I can just go back really quick to, like, what the story was about. The one thing I did realize, like, halfway through, because I was speed reading to get it in before the pod, but really appreciated, was that
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
we finally got to see, like, what came of her trying to murder Hal. Because it was referred to, like, all the time in the, like, text of the book, but it would always kind of seem like it would be something that, we'll learn it later. And then Hal got dead for real, and we never found out. And I just thought it was very exciting to get that little extra information.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was
I thought it was very rude that this was after the book and that I had to contemplate a live Hal again because I love him and he's a very cool character and I wanted to cry again.
it's
bullshit.
It was nice getting to see him alive again, just because he, like, dies, like, not even quite halfway through the book, and I was like, oh no. Like, I mean, of course he died halfway through the book because this is the kind of book it is, but also, oh no, he was so eccentric and fun. But it's a very Hal and a very Brand interaction, I think, and which is pretty fun. But Brand is also obviously not the first bounty hunter we've ever seen, and definitely not the first bounty hunter we've ever seen in the books. And Chris, I know was this your point? I think you wanted to talk a little bit about that.
This was my point, yes. So, obviously,
Chris has points.
it's shocking, I know.
Big if true.
No one said they were good points. I'm a white man, obviously I have points.
Oh my god.
So obviously, when we think of bounty hunters in the new canon, it's interesting because they are, I think, almost exclusively women. Mercurial Swift, I believe, being the sole exception.
Ooh.
Which
And women get shit done on like one Boba Fett.
yeah, well, I mean, you're absolutely right, and I think that is an interesting discussion that maybe we'll have when The Mandalorian comes out, because I think that's a much larger point that I would love to have, and I want to do it justice. But I want to think about Brand versus the other bounty hunters that we've seen, and because of the way the canon has played out, the other female bounty hunters that we've seen, and specifically, I'm thinking about Jasamari from the Aftermath trilogy, and of course Ventress, who becomes a bounty hunter after her kind of failed go-round as a Sith Lord.
Yeah, and we see that in both the Clone Wars and Dark Disciple by Chrissy Golden. A book which I try to think about seldom, not because I didn't like it, but because it made me cry so fucking hard.
You're gonna love Jedi Lost.
Oh, Jesus.
Um,
Not ready, but go on.
Right, but yeah, like I liked Brand because I feel like the lady bounty hunter. I'm trying to think of the right word. The lady bounty hunter kind of characterization, the stereotype's not the right word, but like the there's a specific word I'm looking for. Kate, help me. Like the template. Trope, thank you. Thank you to you both. The trope is that hashtag strong female character, strong and silent, is willing to get her hands dirty. Like, you have all this bullshit. But you do have in these three characters, you obviously have some similarities in that they are all not super emotional. They are all obviously incredibly competent, and more so than all the men surrounding them, which point made, but also like, where's the lie?
Trauma galore,
absolutely. And kind of have this air of mystery to them, I feel like. And so that's what we see similarly, but I feel like they also have like some pretty major differences. I don't know, what did y'all think about that?
I mean, I think probably one of the more interesting things about Brand is, like, as we were saying, Hal commands a lot of personal loyalty. And Brand totally buys into that. We see folks like Jas, who's, I work alone sort of types of people, or, Ventress, who is really trying to resist feeling any personal involvement with Quinlan. And Brando, like, her interpersonal connections are strong, and when they lose people in the company, she feels it, and she lets herself feel it.
See, I think that's a good point, and maybe that is a little focused on like the nuances between them, but I also feel like they all kind of have that soft spot, and it's something we see in Star Wars like all the fucking time.
Oh, sure.
Like Han Solo, the hotshot smuggler with a heart of gold. We see Brand really come to love Hal and Twilight Company, and I think she'd do anything to protect the folks in it. And like, Jas clearly loves Jas. She clearly loves the rest of whatever squad name. Do they have a squad name?
They don't have one.
She loves her little crew that she's running with.
Nora's murder team.
And
Yay.
Jas loves Nora's murder team. And like we kind of got like the off-screen, off-book depiction of what's-his-fuck dying, her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard, but like she's still very much like over the course of the Aftermath trilogy develops into somebody with feelings for the people around her, and I feel like is less of a like, I'm a bounty hunter, I'm gonna do it. And she's also doing all these bounties for like good reasons, to pay off her aunt's debts. And if we want to look at Ventress, like, I don't think hers is as pronounced as the others, but like she's still got some feelings. She's not totally like in it for herself. She's not, totally I'm in it for the money, and like otherwise fuck off. So there's a point somewhere in that.
Yeah. I think no. I think all the, as Randa slaps items on the table. I think all that is true. I just think that as maybe not so much in the short story, but as we are introduced to Brand in the book, she has already gotten to the point where she has allowed herself to open up.
Yeah, that is a fair point.
Yeah. To me, what I love about them is that they all have different motivations. I feel like at the point in which we see them. Obviously, Brand is, as we've talked about, just straight up loyal. Like, she has been to, whether you call it a true believer, whether you call it loyalty to Howl, she is a rebel. Like, that is who she is through and through. She has plenty of opportunities to leave the rebellion even after Howl dies, and she does not do so. I feel like you can kind of contrast that with Jas, because Jas is like, she is, quote unquote good. I feel like, we look at her kind of memories of her Aunt Shugi, and you look at what? Did I pronounce that weird? Sugi.
I was about to say, you just pulled that name right out of your ass. That was very impressive.
It's getting very different looks from Miranda and Kate, apparently.
And both of our reactions track completely.
Yeah. You have her kind of like grudging idolization of her Aunt Sugi. You have her eventual, frankly, abandonment of her stated goal of money and her stated goal of being an actual mercenary and to do the stuff. But at the end of the day, she is frankly still looking out for number one. Like, she's, other than during the course of jobs, which, like, bounty hunting is a dangerous job and you kind of need to have at least a little bit of a death wish to do it. Like, you never see herself straight up being like, this is a bad idea for me and I'm going to do it anyway. Like, she is, I would say, the most quote unquote mercenary of the three. And then Ventress is kind of just driven by this combination of like a need to prove her competence and revenge. And that I feel like stems all back to Dooku and her relationship with him. And we've talked about that, and I'm sure we will talk about that when we listen to Jedi Lost later this summer.
I don't super agree with your assessment of Jas. I mean, like, she did go back for Nora on goddamn Jakku, so.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
But other than that, like, I do take your point. Who the fuck put Pew Pew Revenge on the
Who
outline?
the fuck do you think put Pew Pew Revenge on the outline?
God damn it, you were so on brand.
It was
all
Chris.
the time.
It was not.
It was me. It's just interesting because, like, she gets her revenge, obviously, in this super short story. She's just, like, very complicated. Like, I mean, obviously, I agree with all the things that you guys have said, but she's just, like, even though she gets her Pew Pew revenge, she's just like, well, what do I do now?
Right, which
I guess I could go do something else.
it's always the trick with revenge, isn't it? What the fuck do you do after you achieve revenge?
Well, that's why they encourage them to not join the rebellion for revenge.
Or the Sith.
Wah, wah, wah.
I have too many jokes running through my head, and none of them are good or make any sense.
I mean,
mean,
one might argue all would fit this podcast. then.
Also, you could say them anyway. Chris does that all the time.
But
Live your life with the
that is a
confidence of
specific
Mira
thing that
Whiteman.
happened in this book, though. When Namir went to join, they were like, do you want revenge against the Empire? And he was like, I don't fucking care. And they were like, sold.
I know, right? That was incredible. Yes.
No, you're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. You had an actual point, which I interrupted. You're absolutely right.
That was a valid point.
Sidebar, I really like how he was like, oh, I have to prove my, like, worth to these people. And he's like, well, my worth is I'm really good at reading people. Completely disregards his, like, assessments of people anyway, like, pretty much constantly. And he's just there like, God damn it, why the fuck am I still here? Like,
What a mood.
I know, like, relatable as hell.
Yeah. And we got into that a little bit last episode when we talked about Hal and Namir's relationship and kind of how Hal saw command potential in Namir. But, like, I don't know, we can talk about that a little bit. Why the fuck is he still here? Like, why'd they keep him around?
Because he's very good at murder. He's extraordinarily good at murder, and I mean that in like literally like pew-pewing people in the fucking face, but also he's very good at strategy as well. You know, he takes the information that Chalice, you know, pulls out of her fucking brain hole, and she helps out, but he's just like, yeah, I can execute. And then, you know, we especially see it in the factory room with fuck Unsullied, where he's just like, all right, we are putting random fucking filing cabinets here, here, and here, and these are choke points, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, and I think it's important to like kind of delineate when we say strategy about that. Like, he's not a grand strategy person. He's a nuts and bolts person. Because he's been fighting in wars for like
Ever.
all of his not quite adult life. And so he's like seen enough shit to know how to make it work. And like he's been in Twilight Company for a couple of years. He's well respected. And people know that like he can be trusted to like run little operations and shit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he talks a lot of shit, but everybody knows that, you know, when the shit hits the fan, like he's gonna be down for anybody in the company. So
See, it's interesting because, except for that last thing you just said, Kate, I actually completely disagree with you.
Great.
Kate's excited for this point.
What?
Who asked you, Dad?
The listeners.
That wasn't a
Fuck
question.
off.
Also,
That's false. No listeners.
I was gonna say that's absolutely not true, but go on.
My burner accounts asked me.
Chris, you fucking shit it. Just talk. I hate you.
But no, and Miranda, I think you really got to kind of the heart of it. I part of where I disagree with you is I don't think he's a strategy person at all. I think kind of what is revealed in the second half of Twilight Company, where Chalice is really running the show and he's kind of like, okay, is that he is not smart. Like, and this is not a knock on him. He does not have the correct thinking.
He's a fucking idiot.
I mean, he's not an idiot, but his skill is in tactics and not strategy, and I think that that's a difference.
Well, okay,
And-
what's the difference for you between tactics and strategy? Because I was gonna say, like, on the ground, like, battle by battle, like, in terms of strategy, like, yeah, he can do that.
That to me is tactics.
Okay.
Yeah,
To me, strategy is overarching what is our goal.
Okay.
that is the point that I was trying to make. Thank
Yes.
you for making it into words.
No, absolutely, and as I said, like that was very much like what I got from what you were saying as well. But so to me, he's like, I don't think he's kept around for his strategic chops. I think his tactical chops are helpful, but to me, I feel like he's kept around because kind of his initial, like the point of him when he joins up and when Hal has that initial conversation with him is that he knows people. And
Which is ironic for how much he fucking hates people.
I mean,
Sometimes it'd be like that.
It's
yeah,
true.
It's funny how that works sometimes.
I mean, I say that. I am literally like that.
Yeah.
Actually.
Like, it's funny how the people who hate people so much have the best instincts about people. And I think he's like that. And I think that it's a recognition from certainly Howell, but also his peers that, like, he has this innate talent for reading people and the ability to read people. Like, you know, tactics you can teach, strategy you can kind of teach. Like, instincts on people you can't teach. And I feel like that's the command potential that Hal saw in him and kept him around for. Like, I think his military prowess was like, yeah, that's a bonus. Like, that's helpful.
He is, in spite of himself, a people person.
Yeah. But, like, you know, you look at people like Von Gies, who was a medic. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that how we're pronouncing it.
I think it might be Von Geis.
Von Gies, that's if we're going German galactic spelling or German galactic pronunciation, it would be Von Gies.
I like it. I like it. We're gonna go with that. Well, we have the Geist already.
I think
so.
we are.
Huh?
We have the Geist already, so
That's a good point.
I think we're gonna go with that.
So, but yeah, you look at Von Gies, and he's a medic. He's literally he's a non-combatant. Like, you know, if you're a medic in a war zone, there's kind of like a ceiling to, like, you know, are you competent? Great. Unless you're like a fucking miracle worker, there's kind of a ceiling to your usefulness.
Great.
But Von Gies has this kind of high position with Hal and within the command staff because kind of, I think, similar to Namir, he knows people and he knows the company and he knows how to get what he needs out of them. And I feel like that to me is more the primary goal of Hal's with training Namir, and everything else to me was incidental.
Well, to be fair, von Geist is more institutional memory than anything else.
That is fair.
And I think the thing too, if we want to go back a little bit to the like whole charismatic leader thing about the rebellion and how that's what holds the whole operation together. I don't think Namir thinks of himself as a charismatic guy, but he's very clearly somebody that people look up to.
Yes.
And is it, because he can read people so well and that helps him interact with them? Is it because he's been around Twilight Company for so long? There's no way of really knowing, but he is trusted by Hal, who everybody loves. And people clearly, I don't know if we know for sure if they love him, but they trust him enough to follow him into all these fuck shit battles.
For sure.
And that's what matters.
We know that Roach certainly gloms onto him pretty much immediately. But also I think so. This is gonna sound like a tangent, but it's not actually. Okay, so I was talking to a friend recently, and I was like, I have this thing where people will I will also glom onto me for various reasons, and which I completely do not understand. I am
Mom friend.
Yeah, but also I'm not a people person. I don't think I'm a particularly nice person, honestly. I've met people who are truly generous, kind, lovely human beings, and I am not one of them, which is it's fine. We can't all be those people. But I was just so why the fuck are people so get attached to me? And I'm not saying this to boast. I'm saying this because it literally happens in my life. And I feel like people on this podcast can independently confirm that. But also, I was like, why? Hi. But I was like, why the fuck does this keep happening to me? And she's like, it's because you have this air of competence about you that people are like, oh, she knows what the fuck she's doing, so I can ask her for advice or whatever the hell. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not competent. But I think it's Amir. Honestly, I do I think he's that guy for a lot of the fresh meat and the other people in Twilight Company.
Yeah, he's the guy who tourists see on the street and are like, I'm gonna ask him for directions.
Yes.
It's it doesn't matter if his headphones are in and he also looks like a tourist today.
Yep, that's me.
He will direct you to the red line.
People always ask me for directions, and the horrible...
Fuck the red line.
Honestly, oh my god.
Yeah, honestly, if he's giving good directions, he's not directing you to the red line.
That's true. People legitimately always ask me for directions, which is awful, because I have no sense of direction.
You also hate people.
Yes. But I also still get lost literally in, DC is a grid, and sometimes I still get confused. It's not cool. It's not... Never ask me for directions, by the way.
I can confirm Kate has many talents and is a brilliant woman. Her sense of direction is poor.
It's pretty bad.
We'll leave it at that. It's poor.
Same.
It's very bad.
Oh my god, why are you guys like this?
Do I want to talk about the book itself?
Cool.
We do, but I want to pee.
I'm gonna have to drop off in 2 minutes.
Oh shit.
So
I'll hold it. Let's go.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I just put a European in a Lyft.
No,
She was like,
you're
I'll
perfect.
take a
Don't
taxi
worry.
to you, and I was like, you will not. This is a Lyft. Look for a gray Toyota Camry, and then she couldn't find it. And then
my God.
I ordered another one, and it was also a gray Toyota Camry.
Oh my god!
Amazing. We're leaving that in because it's very funny.
Yes.
I was like, it's also a gray Toyota Camry, but it should be a different man driving.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Kristen's Danish coworker, Danish former coworker.
Yeah, somehow Denmark is still taking me away from this podcast. But
Twist.
she came fucking halfway across the world, so I'm making... But you know what? In perfect me fashion, I'm making her come to my house. So I'm not leaving.
Cool. All right.
So yeah, let's talk about the book before we wrap up.
All right. So before we get into what we enjoyed about this book, I wanted to give a brief history of modern war literature, because I do think that Alexander Freed's writing style and his subjects, and especially this book, and I assume the forthcoming Alphabet Squadron, really emerge, I think, from this tradition. And this is the part where everybody fast forwards while I nerd the fuck out, but that is fine.
Don't fast forward, it's so good.
So a lot of like what we think of when it comes to modern war literature, probably starts with World War One, because that was the first time that people have been writing about war for literally time immemorial. But World War One is pretty much known as the first instance where people were really talking about what war is. Like, it's not just about glory or, the fatherland or, being a man, but it, like, fucking sucks. Like, World War One, the war to end all wars, as you probably learned in your high school history class, was just, like, fucking terrible because you had all this trench warfare and all this other bullshit ass crap. Chris, why are you like cat-cowing right now?
Oh, I'm just because I was sitting for too long and my leg is asleep.
Okay.
Just ignore me.
Great. So you have writers like the poets Siegfried Sassoon and Wilfred Owen. Dulce et Decorum Est is probably like a thing you read in high school. You've got Hemingway, who writes about both World War One and the Spanish Civil War, which he fought in for, I don't know why, because Hemingway was bored and wanted to kill things, because Hemingway. Ford Madox Ford, All Quiet on the Western Front, like all very famous works that came out of this time. So just really talking about what it's like being on the front lines, like watching your friends die, like mustard gas, getting like weird-ass gangrene, like this is all horrible things they were talking about. And I will probably, as Randall laughs about weird-ass gangrene. But anyway, these are, I apparently just registered for a literature class for my upcoming, like, first semester on World War One literature, so you'll probably hear me saying
cool.
more things about that later on in the fall. But that's happening. So anyway, World War One, again, opened the gates for talking about how horrible war actually is. World War Two, you had folks like Evelyn Waugh and T.S. Eliot and William Golding, and that's where things kind of got into what I guess we would call like post-apocalyptic almost sorts of writing. So T.S. Eliot had The Wasteland, and then of course William Golding had Lord of the Flies, and it was just like, oh, is the entire world like just fucking super morally bankrupt because we did this again? Fuck all of us.
And with bigger bombs.
Correct, with much bigger bombs, and it was terrible. Evelyn Waugh is an interesting case also.
Happier with your mouth more open.
Yes.
Happier and with your bombs explodey.
Such splode.
I feel like that's the premise of Watchmen, but
I mean, kind of. I mean,
sorry, that was a tangent. Continue.
I'll get to that, honestly. Evelyn Waugh is also interesting because I think he's also more so, and Hemingway a little bit, I suppose, in The Sun Also Rises, also talking more about, like, the emotions of, like, what war does to you, and which I think more fully comes to fruition when we get to Vietnam War literature, which I think very, very directly ties into Twilight Company. So when you're talking about Vietnam, obviously probably the first and only name you think of is Tim O'Brien, The Things They Carried. As Miranda just laughs at me.
You're very knowledgeable about literature.
Yes.
It's very impressive.
I don't know.
Nobody else thought of any names at all.
Oh, well. I don't know.
No. You're
you,
perfect.
Chris.
That's not insulting you. That's insulting the rest of us.
Chris spoke for me. I'm just very impressed right now.
I'm also like a Tim O'Brien fangirl, so it's fine. If y'all have listened to the podcast before, I've definitely talked about Tim O'Brien before because I wrote my undergraduate thesis on him, basically. Anyway,
She's also
she
getting
met
her
him
PhD
and she cried.
in words. So
yeah, a little bit. Cried only a little bit. He also cried a little bit. It was fine. I told him I wrote my undergrad thesis on him, and he was like, "What the fuck? Why would you do that to yourself?" Which was very sweet of him. Anyway, so Vietnam again, like talking about actually like what war does to your psyche and what it does to you psychologically. And Tim O'Brien is, God bless him, very open about his mental health and his PTSD, and what that has done not only to himself but also his family. So obviously a very significant, I think, step forward in not only like talking about war and war literature, but also obviously all of the folks I just mentioned are men, and so what is war in terms of like masculinity, and especially toxic masculinity, is something that's happening. And I don't know Alexander Freed's background in terms of whether I do believe he is the Vietnam generation, but I'm not, or very close after it, but I'm not entirely sure like if he had specifically a military career or anything like that. For more on that, probably, Pod Dad Brian Larson just posted on to the Tosche Station Radio Mega feed. There was a panel at Star Wars Celebration about the military and Star Wars, and Alexander Freed and a friend of the pod, John Liang.
Alexander Freed was born in 1950.
Yes.
So he was very much a
Vietnam generation.
draft eligible man.
Yeah. All right.
That's like a quick Google search. I don't know if he served, but
I googled his like website biography and it didn't mention it, and obviously I'm not gonna like Google deeper than that because I'm not a fucking creep. But
if he didn't, I'm sure he knew a lot of people who like were heavily involved in that.
yeah,
So.
I bet. Absolutely. I mean, Vietnam is a thing because it like fucked up an entire fucking generation, right? So yeah, Miranda is just like woo. Anyway, the John Liang, a friend of the pod, and Patreon supporter, what up? They both and a couple of other folks were on that panel at Star Wars Celebration, and we have the audio. So if you want to listen to it, please do so. I honestly should have listened to it before doing this podcast, but here we are. The last thing I want to mention is currently we do have literature coming out of the Gulf War, and it's kind of like this horrible like postmodern like I guess study of what warfare is like, where it's just like as pointless as Vietnam was, it's like gotten even more fucking pointless and also highly automated, which is also horrifying. I'm thinking about Kevin Powers, The Yellowbirds, that sort of thing. So all of that is to say that we see in Twilight Company, I think, a culmination of all of that sort of thing. We get a lot of like what war does to your mental state. We get a lot of, well, this is a war, so my entire squad just fucking died, so that's cool in one fell swoop. We get a lot of it's Star Wars, right? So some of the war machine technology is kind of fucking horrifying because you've got like blasters and shit. So yeah, that just wanted to give a little bit of background for people who might not know that entire spiel.
Well, that's good to know, because I think like this very much falls into that kind of category, like For the Galaxy Far, Far Away, and it's something that we haven't really seen a whole lot of before.
Yeah,
as we've discussed, as we've read this book.
Definitely.
And it's an important distinction to make, because I've said it 1,000 times before on this podcast, it's not the grand strategy, it's what's happening like on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for us to like step back and take a look at what's actually happening,
right,
and like how it affects people. And I think that Alexander Freed did a very good job in writing this at doing that.
Yes. No, I think you both said it perfectly, and I think again it's almost frustrating to have to say again Rogue One, but Rogue One really is the spiritual partner to this book, and Rogue One was so critically acclaimed for all these same reasons. You see the people you haven't heard of, and beside the obvious, because the movie wasn't written yet, but like these are the people who died, and these are the people who didn't get to tell their own stories. And there's something that's just so powerful about that Twilight Company, of all the books that we've read, I think taps into in a really visceral way.
Totally. Absolutely. So obviously, all of us enjoyed this book. But what, again, we were saying the book is so different, but why is it, Kristen wrote in this outline, Kristen, who is now fucked off to get beer with a Dane.
Thanks, Kristen.
Her question is, why exactly is this book so good and enjoyable to read? And I think it is because of, like, all those things we've just said. Like, it's different because it really gets into the fucking nitty-gritty of what war is like. But what else, if anything, do we think is different about this book in terms of, like, topic or writing or anything that makes it so appealing and so different?
What we just talked about.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I think we just covered it. And for me, like, because it's different and it's not what we're used to, it's kind of like that breath of fresh air. And, like...
Totally.
Yeah.
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 And actually, it, as much as I was being a shit 30
Why?
seconds ago,
Why?
I think there's a larger point to be made here about that we've made in the past on this podcast about kind of the nature of the Star Wars canon right now, and the fact that we have so many different creators involved and so many different channels and so many different media and so many different stories that we're telling, is that you can have this difference in the stories that we're getting. You can have an Alexander Freed and a Claudia Gray and a Chuck Wendig all at the same time, and a DJ Older, and, like, you have all these completely unique writing styles, and that's just looking at books. You can also have a Star Wars Resistance and a Rebels and The Last Jedi, all of which are completely different in their tone and the way that they treat these really serious issues. And I feel like that is one of the strengths and one of the reasons that we do this podcast, frankly, and one of the reasons that we talk about these issues from, like, an in-universe perspective and how it all fits together, because you have all of the different tones and all of the different modes of storytelling trying to fit together in one big convoluted puzzle, and it makes stuff like this stand out that much more.
Definitely. And in terms of the writing style, I think probably the last thing I want to add is that it's a very clean, I want to say, like, and really straightforward kind of writing style, which makes sense because you're talking about military people, but also it's got a lot of really, I think, cool stylistic flourishes. Like, Alexander Freed does not necessarily shy away from poetic language, which is, again, is one of those things that I really think emerges from the history of American war literature. You know, obviously, like, pretty much some of the first modern war literature we get is poetry, and they're just, like, phrases and descriptions that are grotesque, but also, like, paint a very vivid picture. I think, like, the first moment where I was like, oh, I'm gonna really like this writer is, like, probably within the first, like, 10 pages after that first prologue of Namir being on Crucible when he's, like, 15 or whatever the fuck, is he makes a constant reference to this comms operator that he had been sleeping with, but and she's never named, but one of the things he says was that the way that Alexander Freed tells us that Amir has been sleeping with this now dead lady is that they quote unquote wrote obscene poetry certain nights when they were, like, really fucking bored and stressed out. And I was just like, that is such a perfect and good phrase for what was going on there, at least from my understanding of, like, what in between, like, military conflict is like. It's like either you're about to die or you're really fucking bored. And it was just, I don't know, it was very apt, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I missed that entirely.
Oh!
Just for the record. I think I started reading, I was like, oh, they wrote obscene poetry, like, love to have a friend. Just a couple of friends, heavy air quotes, writing obscene poetry together.
Miranda.
Don't at me.
Yeah, this is why you're a baby burb.
That's Well, I'm a lot of things.
Oh, thank God.
But so, and I don't know if this is just like how I read or because it's like just the nature of this book that's about war. But like, I felt as though a lot of sequences in this book were very fast paced. Because when I read like a battle scene, there's one of two things. It could be that it's actually written fast paced, or like I don't really care as much about battle scenes, so I'm just like skimming through it.
Controversial opinion, but all right.
I know it's a terrible take. And
No, I was honestly, I was about to say that's a fucking mood.
I would not apologize for it, but I think that they were well written in this
For sure.
book, and so like I could really tell that they were supposed to feel fast paced because that's what the battle is like, especially oh god, when they like go to the Imperial freighter or whatever it is, and they're like, we have 5 fucking minutes to get off this ship.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And
when you
like
said that.
he's counting. Namir is like the kind of narrator, the third person narrator in this, whatever. And like every 30 seconds you're like, there's 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, and there's 4 minutes left, and I'm just reading faster and faster, like, oh shit, we're running out of time, as though like me reading it is somehow gonna get them off the ship.
Right.
I just thought that was something that was like so well done.
Yeah, totally.
It was amazing.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, Chris, what that makes me think of is so Chris and I have been watching Chernobyl, which is the HBO miniseries about the
Chernobyl.
Yeah,
It's a misleading title.
horrible nuclear disaster. But anyway, so Chris,
Is that good?
it's amazing.
good.
I'm deeply invested in such topics, so
Which makes sense.
I haven't
right?
started. But
We'll talk off pod, but
Okay.
Yeah.
you need to watch it.
It's incredible, and if you're watching it, definitely also listen to the podcast, especially if you're interested in these things from like a writing and a storytelling standpoint, because the writer and director and producer, he goes through all of that. Yes, Miranda.
I was going to say, is that a question, or are you
It is-
identifying yourself as
Why
interested in
are
these
you raising
things?
your hand? Yes.
Porcano Lisbova. But just to be clear, when you say the pod, you are not referring to at Bookwars Pod. Is there some kind of Chernobyl podcast?
Correct. It is
we
literally
should be
called Chernobyl, the podcast, and it's the writer/director/producer, or not director.
Writer, creator, producer.
Thank you. Sorry, director is somebody else. Apologies to that guy.
Definitely a listener.
Yeah. Okay, but it's hosted by Peter Sagal from fucking Wait, Don't Tell Me, which is
Yo.
the most ridiculous fucking shit ever.
It's very incongruous.
It's
very incongruous.
Amazing.
Like, not in a bad way. It's an amazing podcast, but it is extremely incongruous if you grew up listening to fucking, like, Bluff the Listener and Peter Sagal and Carl Castle talking about what you win for guessing that actually the story about wasps going up someone's butthole is the truth one. It's the truthful one. Wait, Don't Tell Me's a national treasure. Anyway, but it's great.
Yes. Anyway, so this is just reminding me of Chris and I just watched the 4th episode, and I will not actually spoil people in Chernobyl because it's ongoing, and I actually enjoy it, unlike Game of Thrones, which I don't care about spoiling people about. Sorry, but I'm not. Anyway,
Chernobyl's good.
yeah. So we're watching the 4th episode, and basically, there is a very tense sequence that is specifically blocked out to be 90 seconds. Like, they have 90 seconds to do this one task, and then they have to get the fuck out because radiation. And it is literally 90 seconds.
Oh, that sounds so stressful.
And it feels like 2 fucking hours. And it's like that, and it's that kind of storytelling, I think, that Alexander Freed is, like, so good at. Like, it feels like you're really feeling it, like, in your body, like you're there. So, yeah, Chernobyl, great, but also very brutal, and if you're really squeamish, then watch
Maybe
out for
skip
that.
episode 3.
Don't watch the TV show about a nuclear disaster.
Correct. All right, so
It's not like X-Men.
oh my god, shut up. All right, all that being said,
We don't know that yet.
oh my, I hate you both.
Pretty sure a bunch of them do. Because they died, Miranda. Because they died.
Is that what happened in Chernobyl?
Yeah.
People died.
Yeah.
Big if true.
Nobody died. It was a very well handled incident.
Oh yeah, it was totally fine.
That's what the KGB is still saying.
God.
Sorry,
Oh.
this got way off track.
Technically, it's not the KGB anymore. Sorry. I need to move off of this.
Fuck. All right. Anyway, so all of this is to
I don't
say,
even remember what we were talking about.
The storytelling.
yes.
Okay.
Anyway,
Very good.
it is very good. And you know, since the storytelling of this was so fucking good, we are definitely excited for Alphabet Squadron forthcoming from Alexander Freed. But what do we expect? I guess storytelling wise, out of Alphabet Squadron, besides the fact that he's definitely going to crush our souls.
Yeah, honestly, my response to this question is so this is going to be a story that has a point, and you're still not going to care, but I'm going to tell it anyway. There's
Big if true.
yeah. So I'm a Dodgers fan, if you've heard me mention it, and there's a Dodgers blogger who like is, you know, kind of like one of the SB Nation bloggers, and like we'll always get, you know, all these people of like, what's your prediction for how the Dodgers are going to do this year, or what's your prediction for how they're going to do in the playoffs, or, you know, whatever. And anytime he gets that, he just responds with the exact same YouTube clip of Mr. T in the A-Team just being like, my prediction, pain. That is
God.
how I feel about Alphabet Squadron.
Thank God. That is, yeah, that's perfect. That and your hair is in it, so I'm fucking excited. But you know,
Pain.
oh, it's only pain if she mentions Kanan and or Broccoli Boy.
Oh my god.
I would, well, I don't know about Kanan. I think Broccoli Boy will probably be in there.
Okay, so for some of us who are maybe not super caught up on, or who did not bother to read what Alphabet Squadron is going to be about. So
And Miranda Spire. Yeah.
It's about a ragtag group of pilots.
in Star Wars, in front of my Star Wars. No, so like I know it's about like a squadron. Is it like in the Rebel Alliance, or
It
is
It's
is.
it?
kind of like in the aftermath-ish almost.
Okay.
Yeah,
Period.
post Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, period of time. They're trying to like basically so it's gonna be a trilogy, and
Okay. Oh,
um,
okay.
yeah. So the first book is they're focused on them trying to take out this basically this elite squad of like Imperial TIE fighters.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and they're kind of like again ragtag bunch of, and the reason why they're called Alphabet Squadron is like there's one like X-wing pilot and Y-wing, there's an A-wing, there's a U-wing, and what is the last one?
B.
B.
My dad.
No respect for B-Wings. All right.
Damn. Fuck. I'm sorry. I don't even hate B-Wings. Anyway, go on.
All I know is, so arcs for Alphabet Squadron ran out a few weeks ago. This podcast did not get them. A couple of our
Thanks a
Tashi
lot,
Station-
Tom. JK. I love you, Tom.
JK, Tom, we love you.
We're legitimately kidding.
A couple of our Tashi Station colleagues have read it from art copies just for reviewing purposes and such. And I think it comes out the 11th, so I think you can expect those reviews within the next 2 weeks.
Yes.
Um,
we are very obviously not a review podcast, so it makes complete sense. Like, sorry, Tom.
No, we're not actually
No,
bitter. That was
we're
just
not-
Kate.
No, I'm legitimately kidding. Tom's gonna lie on the floor and cry about it, and I feel really bad. He's not gonna actually cry about it, but he's gonna be like, oh.
He's gonna feel disappointed.
Oh no, Tom, I'm sorry.
But anyway, point being, we know people who have read it. We have not gotten any spoilers, but basically what people have been saying about it is that it's a lot of feelings and it will kind of rip your heart out, as Alexander Freed is wont to do. And then Tom at Darth Internus himself tweeted the last week or 2 weeks ago something along the lines of, we were in a staff meeting, reading and discussing the manuscript for Alphabet Squadron 2, and somebody said, man, is the first one really going to be the happy book in the trilogy?
And I was like, cool. Guess I'll fucking die. And for those of y'all who were, were fans of Legends back when it wasn't fucking Legends, it's definitely been called like basically the spiritual successor to Rogue and Wraith Squadron. I had alcohol and now I can't talk anymore. But yeah, so if you love those books, and I know many people did, like, get fucking pumped.
Yeah. Anyway, we have a couple social media questions, and then we're starting to run heavy. So, in honor of Kristen, who has dropped off, we should wrap up in the next 5 minutes, or else she's going to make us split it into two.
It's true. All right, so we only have 2 social media questions. Let me just double check that real quick. Somebody write down this timestamp. It is 1:25.
Honestly, Kristen's gone. I'm going to have to listen to it all anyway when I edit.
Yeah,
so.
that's fair enough. All right. So our first social media question is from @TomTheFanboy on Twitter, who's been listening for a little bit and interacting with us. We, by the way, love interacting with listeners. I only bite Chris, so if you want to talk to me, because I basically run the Twitter, like, please do, because I'm bored at work pretty much all the time. So he asks, if we got another boots on the ground story like Twilight Company or Inferno Squad, would you rather see Resistance era characters or a new canon spin on the old Republic Commando type books? And for those who are not familiar, it's Republic Commando is what? KOTOR?
No, it's
not
Clone
KOTOR.
Wars.
It's Clone Wars. Sorry.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I've got KOTOR on the brain since that like fake BuzzFeed article leaked. Yeah, so PS2 questions, that's part 1, so let's answer that first. Would you rather see Resistance or would you rather see Clone Wars?
Well, now that you said KOTOR, I kind of want to see KOTOR.
Like the Jedi Sith war of thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
On the ground, yeah. Like when there were like thousands and thousands and thousands of Jedi, that'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
It'd be like, I think it would, fuck. These are words that are all together. I think something like that would be kind of a cross between like this and Dark Disciple.
Interesting.
Based on what I've read, just like I could be totally making that second part up, but I feel like there's a lot of
I mean, Dark Disciple had a lot of like espionage shit.
lots of
going on.
espionage, lots of Jedi tactics that weren't like big picture.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think to see that combined with like just on kind of how I'm envisioning this book being laid out.
Yeah.
As like a time, or as being set in a time where there's like a fuck ton of Jedi, it would make sense to me. And now that's what I want. So thank you.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. For me, I mean, I actually really don't want to see a book like this for the Resistance era.
At least-
Specifically, go ahead.
Well, at least for in terms of like we don't know what happens in that year between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker yet. So
Yeah, but how much could?
I don't fucking know.
Like, I mean, we'll see, obviously, over the next
It's a
6
big
months.
galaxy,
So,
Chris.
for those who haven't read it, the Vanity Fair cover article on Rise of Skywalker, which I think comes out in print this week and came out online with some pictures and online and the online article last week, says that it's about a year between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. But for me, the Resistance is not big enough to have a story like this. Like, I feel like the beauty of this story is it's like the microcosm in the storm. And I don't think, I feel like the entire Resistance is the microcosm. Like, we have
Right.
Star Wars Resistance, which is kind of this, like, what becomes a crack team of, you know, people who aren't soldiers and end up fighting for the Resistance. But other than that, you know, we see in Last Jedi, there's not a lot of them.
Right. I mean, like basically, I mean, I don't know what it would be otherwise than a retelling of basically the Battle of Crate, because that's kind of all we've had so far as we know. Like, I don't know if they've had like, I don't know, Resistance.
Yeah, and I don't want that.
Yeah, I mean, well, Resistance, the TV show shows us basically that, like, a lot of what is going on between the Resistance and the First Order is a lot of espionage type shit and a lot of, like, I don't know, I want to say minor skirmishes.
Yeah.
But unless we have some clarification in the canon, which I feel like it has to be forthcoming after the Rise of Skywalker, because like there's 30 fucking years up in there between the original and the sequel trilogy. But yeah, I don't know. I obviously the Clone Wars did a lot for making the clones individuals, but also, you know, in honor of Kristen, I could always do with more clones.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah, I'm of the options presented, I would absolutely,
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love stories of clones rather than
Totally.
Resistance. And, you know, we'll see. We have, obviously, Resistance Reborn coming from Rebecca Roanhorse in November, I think. Which
Also,
is the novel tie-in to the Rise of Skywalker publishing line.
I'm so excited. I love Rebecca Roanhorse so much. And
No, it's going to be amazing. I'm very much not down on that. Like, I'm so excited for that story, but that one seems very focused on kind of our main characters, like Poe, Finn, Rey, Leia, etc.
Yeah, all I wanted to say was that if you haven't read Trail of Lightning, fucking fix your life and read it, because I'm not a fast reader in the slightest, and I read half of that book in like one day, which is a bunch for me, and so yeah, it was fun. So the second part of Tom the Fanboy's question is, if they were to make a Battlefront 3, would you want more of a Resistance sort of time period, or would you want more of a Clone Wars sort of time period? I think the answer for me is probably the same, just based off of playing the like online mode on Battlefront 2. Like, you can play as a soldier on Crate, or is it Kashyyyk where you are in Clone Wars? Yeah. I don't know. Like, I enjoyed playing the Battle Crate, but like I think probably Clone Wars has more environments that you can explore that weren't even necessarily depicted in the cartoon. So like gameplay wise, like I think that'd be cool just to see those places.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to your point about the fact that like there's no time between the end of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and if we're only getting a year between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, like that's very different. There's no time for anything to actually kind of grow within the galaxy. In the original trilogy, it spans what, like 5-6 years or so?
4 years.
4
About.
years? But that's enough time for things to and like obviously things were building up beforehand.
Right.
And then the Clone Wars were a couple of years. That's enough time for something to build up on like a galaxy-wide scale. So I think like based on that alone, we have more options.
Totally.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would like them to not make Battlefront 3.
Damn, okay. Jesus.
Sorry, I'm like very nervous about where Star Wars is going with video games these days. I just don't think I think it would need to be something completely different than what exists right now, and I don't think that the groundwork is laid for that in the canon as it exists right now.
See,
Like, ask me again in 6 months once season 7 of Clone Wars has come out, once, obviously Rise of Skywalker has come out. There's gonna be more room, like, and I reserve the right to completely, 180 on this, as one does. But as of right now, like, I feel like this is, like, I don't know, the concept of that, like, doesn't excite me as much.
I don't know. Personally, I think, like, I don't think the problem is making a game we've never seen before. I think it's telling stories of characters that we've never seen before, but also making sure that it's not ground that we've tread before. Like, if you've listened to our bonus episodes on Star Wars Celebration, one of the things we've said is that we want to be more excited about Jedi Fallen Order.
White Kanan Jarrus, yes.
Yeah, like, except that the storyline literally is retreading basically what Kanan Jarrus' story is. The beauty of, Battlefront 2, which came out just before The Last Jedi, is that, Iden Versio and Del Meeko and, what happens with the rest of Inferno Squad, both on the Imperial and the Rebellion side, that's not necessarily a story we've seen before, and it was great to see, such, it was, again, one of those cases where we saw the galaxy-wide civil war on a very small human scale, which was super cool. And I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to another Battlefront game. I just think that, you need to have the right story for it. Like, I mean, honestly, I was talking to my coworker, Joe Butera of Joe Butera Design fame, the dude who designed our podcast logo because he's a lovely human. Like, he and I were saying, like, why have they still not made a fucking, like, stupid pod racing game? that you can play it with your friends at like fucking Mario Kart at a fucking party. Like, why have they not made that yet? Like, I would love that because it would be silly and also a lot of fun. But they haven't made that yet. I don't know why. Please take the license away from EA. Anyway,
They could call it now. That's what I call pod racing.
that
Yeah.
would be beautiful. I
And to
would
be-
love that.
I
And to
think
be
they-
clear, we know that this exists in old systems. We mean in like modern
yeah.
next gen #next-gen
Yeah.
gaming.
Yeah.
I know it's now this is pod racing, but like they could get some copyright shit.
I just
It's a very bad joke.
I-
thank you for
I
thank you for
really-
hanging
I love
with
that.
us.
We were literally
really-
just talking
I
about the
wanna
fucking
get-
now music like things that over the weekend at the wedding we were at. Anyway,
I want to
we're very
get
cool.
to mid-November, and I want us to be eating our words about
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
Like, I want it to be
and,
amazing.
but
Like,
I'm worried.
like, I'm gonna have fun regardless because I'm gonna be like flooming a fucking lightsaber.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, it's a Star Wars. Like,
It's a Star Wars. Like, I'm gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be fun. But is it gonna be like objectively good in terms of like storytelling? I don't fucking know. We'll see.
signs point to don't count on it.
Anyway,
We have one more. We have one more question,
Yes.
and then one more statement to agree with or disagree with, and then we have to drop.
Longtime listener, friend of the pod, caretaker of official turtle of the pod dribbles, at DannyPurtle19 from Twitter, says, "Step aside, Skywalker. Nien Nunb is the truest hero of the rebellion." To which I say yes.
Yes.
I mean, one of them is a useless twink, and one of them isn't.
This is my Elmo Flames gif.
I
Yeah.
like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's it.
Cool. Good ending. Good wrap up, guys. Thank you all so much for listening to the Book Wars pod. It has been great having the whole crew back together. Our next episode, we are going to be starting a new book. We're going to be reading Most Wanted by Ray Carson. Start of the book through chapter 10. We're very excited to start reading about this book.
Fucking finally. We were supposed to read it in 2018 and then our schedule got all fucked up. So sorry, guys. Also here to tell you, the day that this drops is going to be the last day of the contest we're running for all of the amazing shit we picked up at Star Wars Celebration. So make sure you enter that. Instructions are in posts on our Instagram and our Twitter. I'll repost that a few billion fucking times. The contest ends on the day that this podcast drops at midnight. So, like, as soon as it hits 11:59, like, that's like your
And
last
that's the
fucking
31st.
chance. Yep, that's correct. That's April 31st.
Is that Eastern time?
Let's say Pacific. Let's go wild
Okay.
with it.
I don't fucking know what I put.
I could be lying. Honestly, if you live on the West Coast, just try and get it in before 9 p.m. because I might be lying.
Yeah, I don't remember what I put. And I had alcohol this podcast, so who the fuck even knows? Anyway, again, we are only pulling winners from Rafflecopter entries. So if you have previously reviewed the pod, make sure you go to the contest entry page and stick that into the little Rafflecopter widget, because otherwise it's not going to count. And then you're going to be sad. And we don't like you to be sad. We only like Chris to be sad. So just make sure you've done all those things.
Yeah. We want you to win things, so
Yes.
please do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Chris and I are about to move, and we're going to get this crap all out of our house, so you know.
Yeah, just the John Jackson Miller. Don't make me take this home.
Oh, I love Jay Sham so much. Such a dad.
Anyway, as Kate was saying, you can find contest details on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us there as well and talk to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at BookWarsPod. Email us at bookwarspod@gmail.com. And rate, review, and subscribe to us and the Tashi Station Radio mega feed. Just a hint, reviewing the pod on iTunes is one of the things you can do for points in the Rafflecopter competition.
Yes, also different actions are weighted differently in terms of points. Like following the Twitter, I think, is 3 points versus rating and reviewing the pod on iTunes, which is worth 5. So
Yeah, so if you want to win shit, you should rate and review the pod. Just saying. That's probably your best bet, you know, if we're telling the odds.
great.
In the meantime,
You shit.
if you
books.
If you have the means and are so inclined, please donate to the Tosh Station Radio Patreon. It helps us cover our hosting and production costs. And if you do, you'll get to join the Patreon Slack, where you can see exclusive videos of me and Miranda making fools of ourselves with the Oculus Quest on Vader Immortal. Also, give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design. For a long gone Kristen, for Kate and Miranda, I am Chris. Thank you so much for listening to the Book Wars Pod. And Miranda, it has been lovely having you in the soon-to-be-defunct Cedar apartment here in scenic Arlington, Virginia.
East Coast
Yeah,
HQ.
yeah. Thanks for letting me just invite myself to East Coast HQ.
We are glad to have you anytime between now and the end of June.
I would not have been on the podcast this week otherwise, so really appreciate it.
This was great. Anyway, thank you all for listening. We will talk to you next week.
And we have no way to stop this, so I don't even fucking
Yeah,
know what to
honestly,
do.
I was kind of wondering, like, we should probably text Kristen.
Oh,
and tell
can
her
we
to stop
not
it.
stop it?
No.
No, well, because if she had stopped it, it would have cut us off.
Oh,
I'll text her.